I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonicsuns.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at The Legend of Korra for our concluded Korra coverage, because we're doing the entire Season 4.
And it is the last season.
The last season, which I did not know that until near the end. Like, I was watching it on the website, and, you know, the one of the... whatever, the little image that pops up for the episode said series finale. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? No, I'm not keeping track of the news, on this stuff. I'm not really an insider on the rumors or on the announcements even.
It's not the last of Avatar that the creators say it's not going to be the last of the Avatar universe that they're going to be playing around in, but it will be closer to, say, 2020. Before they come back.
Wow. Well,
they got other shit
have they announced any comic series again like they did for AIM?
I don't think so.
Because they should do one called The Vacation, in my opinion. And we'll get to that as the series synopsis progresses. So this is going to be kind of compressed compared to our usual reviews.
They should do Mako Gets What He Deserves. It's just 20 pages of Mako getting kicked in the dick by a kangaroo.
Come on. He had that whole episode, which I love.
We're going to get to that because I think it is the single funniest episode in the entire Avatar universe.
It may very well be. All right,
this is including Avatar The Last Airbender in that statement. It may be the funniest episode taking place in this franchise I've ever seen.
I think maybe it
is. But, we got a whole bunch of episodes to cover.
We'll kind of go quickly through the list here. I got a list set up for us. So the first episode, called After All These Years.
After a time skip of 3 years, the Korra crew has gone its separate ways. Sami's back in Republic City, helping rebuild the place after, spirits and shit.
See our previous reviews. Summarized as spirits and shit.
Spirits and shit.
That's not a very good title, actually.
I think that was the title of season 2. Spirits and shit. There were spirits and also a lot of shit.
This show is such a big turnaround, though, isn't it? It continued the turnaround. We talked about the first 2 seasons.
It's Star Trek Enterprise.
It is. They grew the beard.
The first 2 seasons suck ass.
Yeah.
The third season, they start to turn it around, and by the end, it got pretty good. And season 4 is where they had their shit together.
Yeah. I'm glad the people at Nickelodeon gave them the time to develop this, because I never would have known Korra was capable of this sort of storytelling by the end of it.
Yeah. Okay, so after all these years,
Sami was rebuilding Republic City. Spirits are wandering about, which there is still a separate spirit world, as we discussed previously, but I guess the spirits can teleport between the two of them or something, because there's spirit wilds where they also live in the real world.
Yeah, so, let's see. Bolin is traveling around with General Kuvira. And Kuvira, who...
Kuvira. You saw you heard how they pronounced it.
Yeah, screw you. I'm giving you slack for reasons.
Yeah, I'm not giving... all right, that's fine.
I will not hesitate to deck you, man.
Good to know.
Anyways, Bolin is traveling around with Kuvira, who, in the chaos following the fact that Zahir pretty much put a cap in the Earth Empress's ass. Actually, no.
Queen. The Earth Queen.
Earth Queen, sorry.
Yeah, and he suffocated her with that crazy earthbendy, evil-looking thing. It was
I'm sorry.
Cool.
Say that again.
Crazy, air-bending, evil-looking...
You said earth-bending.
Well, she's the Earth Queen. I was thinking along those lines. All right.
Yeah, so basically, turns out that when you have a highly disenfranchised population that is buckling under heavy taxation and someone...
And crippling poverty, yeah.
And someone up and murders the queen... everything goes to shit really fast.
Yeah.
So it's taken 3 years, and the Earth Kingdom is almost completely conquered by this point.
Well, united to be precise. But yeah, Kuvira's manipulating everyone, we find out. Sending bandits against those folks that don't agree to submit to her.
She was sending the bandits?
Yeah. Wasn't that revealed at one point?
I don't remember that one.
Wasn't it? Well, I don't know if she was sending the bandits, but at least... it was her forces that stopped our earthbending people. Dang it. Airbenders. They came in to try to resupply the city, remember? Like, we'll send a bunch of supplies on a flying bison. And I'm pretty sure it was Kuvira's forces that, sabotaged that, and you found out secretly.
I don't remember that.
See, this is why we normally do these things after just 2 episodes that we've seen, 10 minutes ago. But anyway, either way, she's evil.
Okay, so she's... unifying the Earth Kingdom.
The various states.
Mako has For some reason, even though he's a detective, he's been assigned as a bodyguard to
Prince Wu.
Prince Wu, who is the rightful heir to the Earth Kingdom.
And who's also irresponsible and vain, and goes to some surprising character development by the end of it.
Yeah.
For a while, he made.
We'll get to him.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Okay, let's see. Okay.
And Korra, remember how much we love the end of season 3,
where she's horribly broken, like emotionally and physically.
and not because we hate Korra, but because we love character development. Like
Well,
she actually had to
and
struggle.
I like to
You
see
hate
pain.
her, but yeah.
No, I just like to see people in pain.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, yeah, she's missing and participating in cage fights.
Yeah, and getting her ass kicked. You know?
Yeah, you don't really expect the Avatar to be getting an ass whooping at the hand of
Some
cage fights.
random person, but yeah, she was, and that was interesting. And they didn't solve it in one episode.
They didn't solve it in 3 years.
They didn't solve it. Well, even but it wasn't until really quite near the end of the whole season that she was finally back on her feet and in full fighting form. And she had several layers to this healing process.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we're getting to the next episode, which is Korra alone. So she goes through like realistic physical rehabilitation in addition to the water bending healing stuff, but she had to learn how to walk again.
And we see Katara again.
And we see Katara again. Yay! Bringing back all the old favorites.
Yeah. Okay. So we see Katara again, and we see that Korra is undergoing some pretty severe PTSD.
Yeah, and she's got this dark vision of herself that haunts her.
That's not really explained that much. I mean, I get that it's supposed to be like her nightmares and her fears made manifest, but
wasn't there like a dog that could see it though?
Yeah.
But she's the connection with the spirit world, so I guess it's sort of like a spirit representing herself or something. Yeah. It was okay. I didn't.
I didn't mind.
Yeah,
I just found it a little confusing.
It was a little confusing. That's okay.
Also, sometime in that period of time, it's revealed that, hey, isn't Korra supposed to be here? Oh no. She said she was coming like 6 months ago.
Like, oh, what the frick is up with that? And while she was away, she wrote letters, but only to Asami, which I didn't pick up on that being a big deal, but that'll come up later. Did you notice this?
Yeah, I noticed
how that fits with the ending now. Like, at the time, I was just like, oh, I mean, season 3 was good, but I'm still expecting or fearing bad writing to creep in.
Yeah, me too.
So when she writes letters only to Asami but not the others, you're sort of like, well, the writers didn't want to bother with her writing more letters than that. And it actually is a
bit of a plot
setup.
point.
It's setting things up for later on. Like, oh,
and also like it helps to not kindle flames of romance.
After
for the shippers.
we had troubles with those
we had
bad
Mako.
shipping earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, which they do comment on in a pretty clever way.
They do. We'll get to that.
Okay,
yeah.
So. Yeah, so
she winds up in the swamp by the end of episode 2.
And then she meets Toph.
Toph is there.
Yeah!
And I was glad to see Toph, and I also thought, okay, in like 1 or 2 more episodes, Korra will be fine again. And she wasn't. Like, even with Toph helping her, like, there was several layers.
And of course, when we say helping, we mean Toph-style helping, meaning throwing and beating the shit out of Korra.
She's always had such a fun personality.
And she has not changed,
changed at all.
Fucking at all.
Remember she was teaching Aang how to earthbend and just throwing giant rocks at him, like, come on, fight it, you know.
Fight it, Twinkle Toes! She calls Korra Twinkle Toes.
And she had so many, and this is more in the original series, but still, all those lines about being blind that instead of mocking were actually kind of awesome.
Because like they just considered her so normal that they didn't even remember that she was blind.
Like remember she was on a wanted poster. Toph, what is this? Well, it sounds like a piece of paper, but I'm guessing there's something written on it. It was
How could you do this, Toph? Do what? Why do people keep forgetting that I'm blind?
It was like a joke on the rest of the world instead of being a joke on the blind person. The large majority of the time.
Look, there it is. That's what you'd see. That's what you'd hear if someone who could see was. And then she waves her hand in front of her face, and she's still
stargazing, and they're all like ooh and ah, and she's like, yeah. Once you've seen one nothing, you've seen all the nothing.
And then the meteor crashes down. Oh, it's getting better though.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're big Toph fans
Toph
because she
fun.
gives no fucks.
She's
she gives no fucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so
sorry, I scrolled down a little bit.
meanwhile, we hear more about General Kuvira, and we learn that Varric is back, and he's in a central character role, and he undergoes another surprising amount of character development.
Oh, everyone was doing things this season and being important and interesting at the same time.
And they had cool new tech too, which I liked.
Yeah.
They had power armor for the regular soldiers.
Yeah.
TV Tropes pointed this out. It's okay. You know what? We'll get to it later.
Oh, okay.
But
right, yeah, we're somewhat going in order. Episode 3 is the coronation.
And no, that is not the Korra Nation, the name of Avatar Korra's fan club.
Oh, right. Coronation.
It's like the Colbert Nation, except the Colbert Nation has America and truth on its side.
There you go.
We miss you, Stephen Colbert. Come back. Why?
Okay. So Wu's about to be coronated. I love that they couldn't find any of his royal jewels except this one brooch because they all got stolen.
No,
remember?
it wasn't even a brooch. It was an earring.
Oh, right.
It was an earring that he pinned to his coat. Because you know what's the funniest part about that though? This actually is. I just realized this. It's a joke that goes back to the last season.
Oh, does it?
Because Bolin pointed out where you can find really expensive shit in the palace. So the reason he doesn't have any of his royal jewels is because Bolin basically said, "Hey, looters, go over here."
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
And now his brother has to babysit him.
Yeah.
And he's like this foppish idiot who makes all these ridiculous demands, like, I want dancing badger moles.
Yeah,
and
it was like a 3-hour coronation, whatever he was planning, and they're like, "No, sire, it would be a small, simple ceremony. I'm sorry. We don't actually have anything except this earring." And then Kuvira announces a coup, and it's like the quietest coup ever. She's like, "I'm in charge now," and Wu's so much of a wuss that he can't do anything about it.
He just doesn't know what's.
He doesn't even yell guards. It's just like, I'm sorry, what? Did she just? Okay. And then like we're all talking about it in a conference room somewhere. So did Kuvira just stage a coup 2 hours ago? Like,
did Kuvira just conquer the world? Okay, Kuvira. We'll talk like about her character development like towards the end, but yeah, Kuvira already portrayed as a badass.
I like that she, handled a whole bunch of bandits or whatever they were attacking her train.
Some people say that she's a Mary Sue and like, oh, she's way too perfect, but I don't really see it that way.
I say she's a strong villain. It works. Mm-hmm. And if you're annoyed at the idea of a badass martial arts person who takes down a bunch of foes at once, don't.
Why are you watching this show then? That describes literally every bad guy. No, I'm sorry. It describes every bad guy except for Vatu, and that's only because he more fits into the category of Eldritch Abomination.
And was also stuck in a tree.
Well,
but until he got out, yeah. Okay, so Toph is helping Korra. She finds there's a little bit of metal still in Korra, that poison, which makes sense, that Toph being the world's first and best metal bender would be the only one who can find it.
You know what's awesome is, like, she says, oh, my daughter's never really grasped the hang of it. We've seen what Toph's daughters have been able to do the previous seasons. Hell, not Lynn, the other one. Sue?
Sue, yeah, Sue.
Sue lives in a city made out of metal with giant pointless metal petals guarding each of the little complexes.
Yeah.
Sue is practically a character. I mean, Lynn is practically a character from Attack on Titan. And Toph goes, yeah, they never really got it.
There's a fight near the end where Sue, is thrown backwards, I think it was, and bumps into metal, and instinctively, morphs the metal behind her into a suit of armor to protect herself with. And you're like, this is a cool show. People can do stuff like that.
I love this show.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what? Am I possessed by a demon? What madness is spewing from my mouth?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So you think it's going to be, Toph gets the poison out of her and she's fine. But then it's hard to get it out because Korra's, resisting and she has this PTSD trauma stuff. Okay, so that's interesting. And in the meantime, Varric is experimenting on spirit vines to make frigging laser beams. Because you can do that, apparently.
No. He's not experimenting to make laser beams. That comes later. Currently, he's experimenting to see if they'll form a cheap, plentiful energy source.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. But the Kuvira's goal in making him do that is to do laser beams eventually.
Yeah, well, I'll explain the TV tropes quote later, and it is so very appropriate.
All right, we'll keep that in mind. In 4, airbenders are looking for Korra.
The episode is called The Calling.
The Calling. Oh, right. Okay, so basically some of our airbending buddies, Tenzin's kids, find Korra in the swamp eventually. Yes.
And it has some character building for Iki and
what's Milo? I like him a little bit older. You know,
he's a little better.
Yeah, he's a little better. It's not like my favorite character, but
it's kind of hard when you're like us, where you like we like TV shows, even cartoons that are. They don't have to be like perfect about it, but they tend to be more sophisticated with deeper characters,
Sure.
interesting motivations. Avatar, Tron Uprising, Babylon 5, bunch of animes we've seen.
Yeah.
Outlaw Star.
Outlaw Star is fun.
Firefly.
Cowboy Bebop is even deeper, I think, but Outlaw Star is fun.
Firefly,
yeah.
All those shows, they sure, they have some silly moments here and there, but they tend to be deeper. They have plot arcs. So Milo really rubbed me the wrong way because his entire purpose seemed to be, I am a hideously ugly infant and I make fart jokes. You can see why this is not appealing to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
Plus his voice was great.
I found it kind of fun when he bounced off of other characters and whatever. But point is, though, eventually Korra lets go of her fears. Toph, or she manages to bend the metal out of herself, and then she re-gets the Avatar state. And you think, okay, now she's recovered. No, she's not.
It's awesome.
They keep doing this, and it's so good because
it's like they realized that in the previous seasons.
At the end of season 1, especially. Oh, God. Yeah.
But no, not even just at season 1. Just like it keeps happening. Korra's like, oh no, I have a block. 1 episode later.
Remember the time she lost her memory?
And then like 2 episodes later, she got it back.
It was even just 1, yeah.
No, it was a two-parter.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
But like, all she had to do, instead of going on like some deep spiritual quest, she had to watch someone else's life in order to get
You can
back.
only escape the curse by watching home movies. Okay, I'll just do that then.
Okay, so, and I still say that those were the 2 best episodes of season 2 of Korra.
Oh, they were.
Because they had nothing to do with Korra.
Yeah, and a fancy new art style to boot. That was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's not actually good yet, as we find out in episode 5. Where Kuvira is marching on Zaofu, which is basically the last holdout of the whole Earth.
The Battle of Zaofu.
Kingdom.
And by the way, this episode...
Or Enemy at the Gates, actually, because then comes the Battle of Zaofu. She's marching on Zaofu as of Enemy at the Gates.
Yeah, Korra actually tries something very new, and it shocked me to the core that she would try this. She tried talking. I know, it shocked me too. I kind of expected her to, like, summon the moon or something. Don't Majora's Mask on this bitch.
It didn't work out all that great, but hey, she did try that.
Points for effort.
Points for effort, and points for... I love the sense of geopolitics in Korra, and the different values that their world runs on. This is kind of what made the Klingons so interesting in Star Trek TNG. I don't know how great they were in the original series because I haven't seen enough, but when you got to see, they have a different culture, and it was self-consistent but still weird to your way of thinking. So sometimes in this they'd talk about, so first off, you have the Earth Queen, who was terrible, but then she died, which is kind of a good thing, but the villain did it, but then it caused all these bad things because of looting.
And then
Kuvira's reuniting them, but then you're like, but she's manipulating them.
No. You don't get the sense that she's manipulating. Okay, you do get the sense, but like at the same time, you realize that there's no way she's going to hand this over because her, the next heir to the throne is a fucking idiot.
And that put another little wrinkle in it. You're like, in a simpler show, Prince Wu would be this fine, regal person who will clearly be a great ruler, and Kuvira would be more a mustache-twirling villain,
Or he'd still be a goofy twit, but, like, somehow his goofy twitness would somehow work out in the show's favor. Like, let's throw everyone a party!
Yeah, and
it raises everyone's mood so they feel like going back to work and getting not anarchy.
Yeah. I mean, he did use goofiness in a weird way towards the end in some small areas, but there was also actual development and stuff.
It's kind of shocking the amount of character. Okay, we'll talk about him later.
And then Zaofu also is technically part of the Earth Kingdom, but they're independent, and Kuvir is making like legal arguments as to, you must be a part of the Earth Kingdom because we said so, this is the way the world must work.
There was this awesome comic I saw about this exact thing where Korra's like, wait, I have the perfect solution. I'll go into the Avatar state and I'll move Xiaofu out to sea and make it its own island. And they, and who's the one of Tenzin's brats who's the spirity one?
Oh, freaking that one! I'm totally gonna remember her name as soon as I read it again.
Milo. Pema's the mom.
No, Pema's the mom. How did we remember Pema's name first before?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Okay.
So, I'm gonna go find the.
Okay. It
doesn't say the name right now.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Wait, I'll find it quick. Let me go. I'm just not.
Darn, I can't even remember what the point I was trying to say was. Okay, so,
Jinora.
Okay,
where's that
Jinora.
Intelligent?
Okay, so the comic said that, like, Jinora was like, well, that's a stupid idea. You can't just use the Avatar state to move the place out to sea. How can you even think of something that's stupid? Flashback! Shows Korra talking to Avatar. Who is it? Kiyoshi. So, that's utterly silly. Why would you do that? So how did you beat Chin? Well, I used the Avatar state to push Kiyoshi Island out to the ocean, where it became its own independent nation. That's stupid. How did you even think of that? It showed Kiyoshi. So tell me again your idea. And it has Patrick Star going, we should take Kiyoshi Island and push it somewhere else.
Why is Patrick Star involved all of a sudden?
Why is he not?
Okay. So the point is those legalistic things. Oh, and what I was getting to is this is a little bit later, but they're talking about what to do about Kuvira back in Republic City, and there's a sense of we can't interfere with internal Earth Nation matters.
Prime directive.
Prime directive sort of stuff, but it was like it's like their culture works in slightly different rules, and that was kind of interesting.
Also, Kuvira she has a fiance,
right?
Named.
The frick was his name?
Fuck. No, it wasn't Falk.
Batar Jr.
Batar Jr., who's actually Sue's daughter.
Son! Oh, there's actually a cross-dresser plot we forgot to mention.
Oh my god, that would make this so awesome. Yeah, so Batar Jr. and Sue doesn't really approve of it because, Kuvira is an evil person, and all that BS. But Batar is like, yeah, I'm totally in favor of Kuvira. And, on the surface, she is doing a lot of good, and she did unify the nation that was basically ripping itself apart through civil war.
And that's what makes her an interesting villain. The best villains are the ones that make you pause and think for a second about, maybe they have a point or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just...
So, that happened, and... Varric and Bolin suddenly realized that Kuvira is evil 5 episodes in.
Yeah. We should talk about what Varric's been doing up to this time. He discovered that the Spirit Vine project would produce massive amounts of energy that are so massive it would basically be a weapon of mass destruction.
Be a freaking laser beam.
Kuvira is like, well, hell yes. Varric decides to have a conscience, and he doesn't like his usual Varric way of saying this. No, I can't do this. Because one of those annoying voices in your head, it's saying that this is right and this is wrong. It's so annoying. How do I make it stop? But it says, no, I can't do this because it could be used to hurt a lot of people.
And then Kuvira throws it back at him, dangles him from the train for a bit, what are your voices saying now? Oh, I don't listen to those anymore. What are you talking about? But he actually does have a conscience, and he does betray her as soon as she's out of the room.
Yeah, but we're getting to that.
Yeah.
Like, so Sue and Lynn decide, hey, you know what would solve this in the middle of the night, while we're waiting for the whole meeting thing to take place? Let's assassinate Kuvira.
I don't blame him.
But earlier, it turned out that Bolin and Varric had decided, hey, Kuvira's evil. But they get caught after an impressive battle, really, where Bolin and Julie and Varric take command of power armor and run for the hills, leading to a power armor fight. If you know me, I love my power armor.
Also with lava bending, because that's still a thing, and it's still cool.
I'm seriously, giving Bolin lava bending is the single best decision they made relating to his character.
Yeah, and
because,
it's one of the it's one cool thing, yeah. And Julie
is awesome.
Starts becoming, it's not just in combat, starts becoming a character. She had always been a prop to Varric. It's just a way of indicating like how vain he is. He has someone following him around doing stuff for him. She starts standing up to him. Like,
and it's awesome. She actually kicks the most ass in the power armor fight.
She does, and then he complains that she didn't do well enough.
Because it's Varric. And eventually, when they're dragged before Kuvira, she says, "Oh, fuck this nonsense. I hate everything that you are. You are so vain, Varric."
And pledges her allegiance to Kuvira.
Oh, and you can see Varric is like, what the hell? What are you doing? Guards, do the thing. He's all pointing to...
they made so much use of that quote.
And Varric was like, no, not the thing, not the thing.
It's such a great idea in storytelling to take a character whom you thought was window dressing, and suddenly it turns out they have depth to them.
Deep Space Nine, Nog and his dad Rom. Like partway through, they started realizing that, hey, these characters would be really interesting. So eventually Rom was revealed to be a mechanical genius who, throughout the show, he's more and more competent. He gets his own wife. He gets married. Your battery is nearly dead, so I'd advise you plug it in.
Go ahead. I keep talking.
Eventually, he becomes the Grand Nagus of the Ferengi, which is basically like their king CEO person. But the Ferengi, you think I'm joking when I say that sort of thing. No, Ferengi, that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it is. They've been kind of flanderized in that department.
Yeah, but yeah. And,
Nog,
I think his best scene was that, like, it showed him getting slowly more competent over the course of the series. He started out as, like, a common thief. But then, like, this awesome episode happened where it looks like it's just the scheme of the week where he tries to apprentice himself to Cisco by offering half his life savings and doing all this silly shit and be like, I'm doing my best to impress him. And then Cisco finally snaps because he's like, okay, you're a Ferengi. What the hell are you doing? Why do you try to get into Starfleet? And Nog snaps in what is, I think, is one of the best character moments of the show. Why are you doing this? Because I don't want to be like my father.
And suddenly you realize he had depth you never thought about before.
Yeah, and then he goes on, like, my father is a mechanical genius. He could have been the chief engineer aboard any starship. But because Ferengi society doesn't look highly on anyone who doesn't earn profit, he's destined to sit in Quark's shadow and wait to inherit the bar, possibly if he dies. And it's this whole thing that starts off Nog's further character development, but it's just that one moment that you realize there's more to him than that.
Yeah, well, a moment, I think I've mentioned this before, but I always thought it was so cool. It was some random Iron Man comic that I couldn't tell you the title of it, but there's one of those, corporate hotshot villain types, and he's arguing with his wife in the middle of their, he's in his big fat corporate headquarters or something, but he's yelling at his wife, and he suddenly raises his hand to hit her, and one of his own henchmen suddenly jumps in to grab the guy's arm. It doesn't even say anything, just stops it. And you're like, holy shit, that henchman has an opinion on the situation? Like, maybe that henchman's dad used to beat the henchman's mom. Like, the henchman has a history and is actually going to stand up to his boss all of a sudden. And I was like, right, that guy is a person. I forgot. Because it was totally just a nameless thug until that very moment. And at which point he still didn't have a name. But he had a personality. So these things, they're very cool to embrace.
Okay, so Varric and Bolin are basically conscripted and put onto a train car. Not in the trope sense, but they're basically
literally
told,
on a train.
Varric says, hey, I'm not going to work on the Spirit Vine project. You do or we kill you. Okay, so working on the Spirit Vine project, and he's ordered to turn this into a weapon of mass destruction. And along the way, it helps build Julie's character a bit because, like, he actually absolutely positively cannot function at the most basic level without Julie. He says, you, do the thing. Do what thing? Give me the thing. I don't know what thing you're talking about. Oh, for God's sake. He goes, the screw thing. He's holding a screwdriver.
Yeah. And he's being clever along the way. He's like, I need an assistant. Okay, one of the soldiers will assist you. Oh, fine. I mean, if he doesn't mind having his hands blown off. The last time I tried this, it nearly killed me. Oh, let's have Bolin be the assistant, you know.
And Bolin's like, wait, no, I like my hands. Have one of the soldiers do it.
But that's actually part of a slightly larger scheme that Varric has to escape. And or blow himself up, which is actually... He sets a bomb.
Okay, no, he does it in his typical Varric way. Yeah. Okay, it's working now. Why is it noise increasing? Well, that's what it's supposed to sound like. What's supposed to sound like? The overcharge. The overcharge? Why does this weapon need overcharge? Because it's not a weapon, it's a bomb. Duh! The timer's ticking down. and at first everyone's like, oh, he's joking. Oh no, he's serious. And they're like, oh shit, he's serious. Quick, grab him! Oh no, you don't, because Bolin and I have this detonator. Wait, why do you have a detonator if it has a timer? Well, it started out that I was like, well, I don't want this to be able to be stopped. So what I'm going to be doing is building a timer.
But then I realized they could just throw me off the train, so I thought I'll build this detonator too. At which point I already had the timer. So you know what? Whatever.
That's pretty much exactly what his dialogue said.
It was like suddenly like there's all this other little details that had gone into a small chess game of him trying to anticipate what they would do, and it's so fun that way, you know, as opposed to imagine a much more generic like, oh, wait till the bad guy turns his back and then whack him over the back of the head and somehow he's knocked out and then we jump off the train. Like,
which, admittedly, for Varric, that would have been a very surprising move.
Yeah, I suppose
so. You just Bolin to do it. I can imagine that whole scene. Okay, when I give the word, we knock him out and got it! Wham! And then they I said wait! Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah.
But, so Bolin's like, that was a great bluff about the bomb. What bluff? You idiot! And so Bolin says, I hate you. Jumps off the train.
I think they burrowed down like through the... Or they must have jumped at first. But then they burrowed through the earth to make it look like they hadn't escaped.
And it goes off like a fucking hydrogen bomb. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I thought it was really neat that Batar Jr. is actually watching them with the telescope to make sure they die, and he still gets fooled. But he was trying. He was trying not to get fooled. Thank you, villains.
Yes. Okay, so then we're jumping around a lot.
A little bit.
Okay, but episode 5, Enemy of the Gates. So Sue gets captured and Lynn by Kuvira.
So basically, Kuvira takes the whole city then, having taken Sue.
But that's after the Battle of Zhalfu, and I have to admit, this title was very disappointing. A thing I did disagree with in the direction of this season.
Oh?
I wanted to see power armored warriors fighting metal benders. This title of this episode was Battle of Zhalfu. The only battle there was Korra trying to fight against Kuvira and losing because she couldn't. She was still not fully healed.
And she went to the Avatar state finally, and then Dark Korra shows up and freaks her out, and you're like, oh wow, even with the special Toph thing, still working on it. Okay, I'll deal with this. And then sort of barely gets away. And then the bomb thing stuff happens. I'm speed reading through this bit. Kuvira conquers Zhalfu, and then Julie is going to work on the Vine super weapon at this point. Right?
With Batar Jr.
Batar Jr. because he's a scientist too.
Yeah,
but not as good as Varric.
And Kuvira goes, okay, look, this is, and actually I really appreciate this part of her plan. She says, okay, we put every piece of the Earth Kingdom back, except for one bit: the United Republic. Because if you read the comics, it's revealed that the United Republic was born from the Fire Nation colonies that were taken from the Earth Kingdom during the 100-Year War that wanted to remain independent of the Earth Kingdom because they were pretty fine with the way they were.
Yeah.
So she wants them back.
And she's, ultimately, I think, just wants to rule the world or something. But you think maybe, I guess this wasn't entirely clear either way. Is it a pretext for just conquering more land, or is it she really believes in that?
Well, it could also be a subtle Nazi reference,
Right? Because they wanted the
God wins all the
Rhineland,
review. Okay, I'm Sith King.
No, it's okay.
Okay, but seriously though, the Nazis' first goal was to make everything that was once part of Germany German again, and that's what he kept saying. Like, okay, this piece needs to be part of Germany now. This piece needs to be part of Germany.
The Rhineland, right? Was like
yeah,
and
like
some other parts. I'm not good enough in history.
Yeah, and come on, we're talking about something serious here. We're talking about a children's animated cartoon involving living flamethrowers.
It's a pretty cool thing.
Okay, but seriously though.
But so there's that legalistic thing I was mentioning earlier, right? And like, oh, she could kind of make a legalistic argument to the natural order of things, even though you knew it was evil. It was more interesting than just conquer. Oh, we will conquer because we are evil and also Daleks. Which I like.
Daleks conquer and destroy. Yeah. Daleks conquer and destroy.
Yeah. So Kuvira had subtlety to her. Even though she was a dictator with a massive army, still had subtlety.
Okay, and I think it's a good time to go back a little bit and talk about Prince Wu.
Alright.
After the coronation, he still acts like he's the prince of goddamn everything, so he goes to Little Ba Sing Se, a.k.a. Chinatown. And Little Ba Sing Se I thought was kind of cool, because it's like a bunch of ring-shaped areas, just like the real Ba Sing Se, with like different shops and stuff. He starts yelling at people because they're wearing Kuvira t-shirts.
Yeah, Kuvira's got good publicity.
She really does. And eventually, he and Mako have to escape. And here's where we see the first beginnings of his character development. Like, he makes his way to the center where there's a restaurant that's modeled after the Imperial Palace in Ba Sing Se. And you see him shoulder his way to a model of the throne that he's supposed to be ruling from. He gets down into it and he's like, yes, finally I'm here, and then he just breaks down. And it's really sad and shit, but and Mako gives this okay speech for him, basically saying, are you the kind of king that you would want to be ruled by, or some shit. I don't really remember it that well.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again sometime.
Yeah.
But they started giving hints that he started realizing how different things were than he'd expected all his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting.
Okay, so after I say that because after the battle we have the episode Reunion, episode 7, where Korra goes back to Republic City and meets up with all her friends again, and they go to dinner and stuff. But at dinner, Prince Wu
gets kidnapped, and basically the whole reason for him getting kidnapped, story-wise, is so the old team can have a bit of an adventure again.
Yeah.
Except Bolin's not there yet, but...
Yeah, so Korra and Asami and Mako just go out and they save Wu, and then they put him in a secure location, aka one of Asami's houses that Mako's family is staying at. And if you remember last season, Mako's grandmother absolutely loves the royalty of the Earth Kingdom.
So she loves Wu. Yeah.
Yep, she does. She dotes over him.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, the whole kidnapping plot didn't quite make sense, but it was pretty darn clear Kuvira didn't care even to kidnap Wu, because she could have at the coronation.
Yeah.
Unless she was trying to persuade people she was nice at the time and wanted him kidnapped secretly later. It was a little unclear, but whatever. We had a small adventure and it was fun. The whole time we're doing awesome, kung fu stuff like we always do.
The next episode is a clip show.
Wait, did we get everything in Reunion? Because there was this other stuff with Bolin and Varric on the run.
Oh yeah, they get captured by
some refugees, which is who they're spending time with as of the clip show.
Okay, now the problem with this, with the refugees, is from where they escaped from. See, Kuvira, for some insane reason, she's so likable otherwise, she has decided to make concentration camps.
Dictators do tend to do that.
Well, yeah, but there's no reason for her to do that. She's like so well balanced. Otherwise, she her goal is basically to unify the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah.
Query affirmative.
Yes, that's why I said yeah.
Okay. So why is she creating concentration camps?
To stop people from disunifying the Earth Kingdom. She's afraid of a rebellion. Which, you know, seeing how some people hate her, and she manipulated them into signing those treaties to begin with, they might want to rebel. That's why they make concentration camps. Well, unless you're the Nazis, in which case they don't even put rebels in their camps. They just put freaking random classes of people. But in her case, it's anyone she suspects might mount a campaign against her. She says, frick it, I'm going to put you away in a re-education camp, as she calls them, you know, a prison, to stop you from doing that shit to begin with. It seemed reasonable to me.
Then there's another problem with the camps.
Okay.
We never see them.
Yeah.
Ever.
I'll give you that.
You know,
I'll give you
I mean, that would have been a really good episode, you know? You really expected they were building up to that. Like, Varric and Bolin go back to one of these camps and to bust it open and
everyone's suffering, like slave labor maybe.
Yeah, like children with bellies swollen from starvation.
Ooh, that'd be creepy.
Yeah, like people rail thin, wearing like costumes. I mean, not costumes, outfits reminiscent of those of Nazi concentration camps. You know,
yeah, if they had numbers on their tattooed on them, that'd be really dark, right?
Oh yeah,
it'd be very, very Nazi-ish right there.
Yeah.
We never saw it. Yeah, I imagine if they had more budget, they would have thrown in an episode with just that, and they just didn't have time.
Okay, but anyways, so they manage to escape and they get on a boat and they're heading for Republic City. The end of Reunion. Next episode is Remembrances. It's a clip show,
which is the best clip show I've ever seen.
It's the best. It's the funniest. It's a clip show, but it's the funniest episode of the entire Avatar franchise. And you want to know why it's so awesome? Aside from the stuff that we're going to be discussing,
what's the aside?
Okay, so the creators of Avatar were told that one of their so that they were getting their budget slashed. They had two options. The first was that they could let go half of their people.
Whoa, they got their budget cut in half?
Not cut. I don't
whatever.
know.
Some of the people
was cut.
Okay.
Some of the people would have been let go. The other was to do a clip show. They said that the option of letting people go never even crossed their minds. Yeah. So that's just awesome right there.
Yeah, and then they did such a good job with the clip show.
So they said that this was their version of the Ember Island Players.
Which I liked that in the original series.
Which the Ember Island Players, one of the things that it was trying to do was to address fan complaints and stuff.
Yeah, and it's neat to see the show reflecting on itself and being aware of the fans. Like, so the premise of that episode, for those who forgot, was a theater group is doing the entire TV show as a play now, having, you know, cobbled together rumors and stuff. And they pointed out things that, didn't make a lot of sense necessarily, like with the Great Divide. Oh, there's the Great Divide. Let's keep flying. Oh, yeah, I guess they could have done that. Or you know, Jet falls over and, like, this cardboard rock encapsulates him. And did Jet just die? You know, it was really unclear.
Yeah, it was.
It's so good to be acknowledged. Like, the writers are like, okay, yeah, we know that was unclear, guys, but, yeah.
Okay, so it's basically divided into 3 acts, each one told by multiple people.
By different groups.
The best one, I think, is either the first one or the last one.
Well, we'll do them in order. How about? So
the first one they do is Mako trying to toughen up Prince Wu, except that Prince Wu has the constitution of wet cardboard, so he goes down almost instantly. So he asks Mako to tell him about his life. So he naturally delves into the shipping aspect of the Legend of Korra, aka the thing that we've hated since day one. And it's basically 8 minutes of everyone ripping Mako to shreds over his shitty dating record.
I love, and they didn't even just criticize him, but they almost developed him a little by showing what he had done wrong and why he didn't. That one guy just totally. I don't know if that guy had a name, but he said near the end of it, "It sounds like you're so afraid of disappointing anyone, you end up disappointing everyone."
Which is a great example of, it sounds like that's what they were trying to do initially. They wanted to have the Zutara romance that fans clamored for back in the original series, so they had the Water Tribe girl and the fire-themed boy get together. But then they figured out, this doesn't really work.
Did they hint that a whole lot in the first series? Because I remember when I became aware. Well, yeah, I was mainly aware of Katang.
Okay, no.
But there was a little Zutara. I remember now.
There was a little Zutara,
there was a little Zutara.
but for some reason, the fans absolutely blew up over it. They were like, oh, we wanted Katara to get with Zuko because he's the hot guy and she's the strong girl. And
yeah, I prefer Katang. It makes so much more sense.
That's what I was like.
Yeah.
But there were Zutara fans, and apparently the Mako Korra relationship was a way of pandering to them in that way.
Oh, that's what you're saying. I didn't catch that at first.
Yeah. But then they realized that didn't work.
That was not working well at all, no.
So they tried to...
And there's also doing a love triangle at that same time, which ended up making Mako look like such a dick, because he would keep playing both of them somehow.
So it's like the show said. They wanted him to have a love interest. They wanted these girls to be... they wanted to follow what the fans wanted. They tried to please everyone, and no one was happy with the whole dating love triangle thing.
And it's basically the authors, between the lines, the authors, the writers are apologizing to us for having screwed that up, and it feels good to get that apology.
It really does.
Even 3 seasons later, like, yes, we remember that, episode, guys, and we know it was not so great. And thank you.
The second part was Korra, basically being us. Going, oh my god, I've sucked and screwed up everything. And I was like, and my expression was, continue. I am greatly interested in what you have to say, and I'm willing to subscribe to your newsletter. Go on.
It was also her, reflecting on all the struggles she felt, which linked into the PTSD style thing, which eventually is her growth at getting better again. So that was part of the continuing plot line too.
And it did introduce something that I really, really enjoyed. Namely, that they did explain how the first season did have an impact on the rest of the series. Namely, Amon and the Equalist movement. The Equalist movement basically disintegrated after Amon was revealed to be a waterbender. But the sentiments behind the Equalist movement did have a lasting effect, and is why they elected a president in the second season.
Yeah, it was sort of implied, but now it's reflected on a little more clearly.
Well, I didn't get that before.
I mean, I just assumed, I suppose, because they mentioned, and now we have a president, and it's like, oh, I guess because you guys realized the previous system sucked. Because it was 5 council members, and 3 of them were genetically connected to whatever Unalaq. What was the evil waterbender guy in season 1?
Tarlok.
Tarlok. Whatever he told them to do, they'd be like, yes, we vote with Tarlok. Like, frick you. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so... And Asami's like... Korra's like, and then I connected the spirit portals, and now the spirits are in this world. I should have thought that through a little more. Yeah. And Asami was like, no, Korra, you did the right thing. At which point I was like, no, Asami, shut up! You shut your filthy mouth! You're talking sense, Korra!
Apparently just Ko doesn't exist anymore. He went somewhere else, but...
God damn it.
I hope he comes back for the next series. In the comics,
we met Ko's mom, but nope, we're letting the soul-eating monster run around.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works, but okay.
Yeah, okay, basically, and then, like, at the end, she's like, one of the themes of the last 2 seasons is, does the world need the Avatar anymore? And I'm divided on that issue. We'll probably do another issue of what we would have done, another movie episode on what we would have done different.
How to fix it, you mean?
Yeah, how to fix it on Legend of Korra.
We already did one of those. Maybe we could do another. But see, the latter 2 seasons have been better, so there's less to fix. But maybe we will. Yeah.
It'll be more of a series overall.
Okay.
Okay, so is the world better without an Avatar? And and Korra says it would have been better because there's so many threats in the world and I can't keep up. Tenzin actually comes in and says, there's always going to be evil, bad people. You can't defeat all of them.
But you keep trying the best you can, which, yay for Korra, for keep trying.
And then...
Section 3.
Section 3, a.k.a. the best, funniest thing I have ever seen in Avatar ever.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, there's a lot of great little moments in Avatar, but I don't know of any section that goes on for a good 8 minutes or whatever it was of just silliness, and it works so well.
Oh my god.
And it fits Varric so well. They're on the boat with some refugees, and they're gonna tell their story, and you just assume it was gonna be a realistic story, like you would see in a clip show, and then this happened, and then that happened. But there's already been more spice in the average clip show, and then it goes off the charts.
Varric says,
I'm going to make a mover. It's starring the real hero of the series, Bolin. If you have ever wanted to see telephone conferencing between Unalaq, Vatu,
and Zahir.
Zahir and Amon talking about how Bolin is the most powerful.
And one of them was the fictional villain too. Remember?
It was fictional. It wasn't even the real
Double
Unalaq.
fictional.
It was the mover version of Unalaq.
Right. And it was like obviously dubbed in, like not dubbed like with sound, but with video. It was, here's a picture of Zahir. We've like stapled a picture of a phone next to his face, and then they do split screen, so he's talking to Vatu.
He's got Vatu. One of his tentacles is holding like a phone from the turn of the century with the stick in one hand and the little trumpet earpiece in the other.
And Zahir's like, "Oh, Vatu, I'm glad I caught you at home. You know very well I can't leave this tree."
Hang on, I'm going to patch in Amon. And he shows Amon rising from beneath the stage. Okay, guys, we need to defeat Bolin. He's way too powerful and handsome for us to take on alone. But can we please not include who, Amon? And it's the flamboyant evil movers.
The snidely whiplash Unalaq.
You know what's even better? He describes him as boring. Unalaq. Varric describes Unalaq as being really, really boring, which was a common fan complaint, that Unalaq was really, really boring.
He hated Ferris wheels. That's all I remember.
Curse you, Ferris wheels! Okay, so, and then he says that to defeat Vatu, Bolin entered the tree and grew into a giant. Now, mind you, as it's showing this, they have a very badly photoshopped version of Korra with Bolin's face stapled on it. Keep in mind, nothing about the giant Korra has been changed. And please also remember that Korra is probably the bustiest character we have ever seen in the Avatar franchise.
I don't know, maybe.
Your nightmares are now complete.
Yeah, we need to accept people of all body types, even if it is a Bolin Korra hybrid.
Okay, I'm going to take some time out and say, this body shaming shit? People are like, don't shame people's bodies. Bullshit! Shame people's bodies! Shame them more! Do you know why I work up the motivation to go work out? It's because I am ashamed of this body. When I curl up, I feel rolls of fat rolling through my body. I feel shame, and I push that into power to work out. And people who are like, oh, no, we need to accept people's bodies. Bullshit! That is bullshit and bullshit and bullshit. America has a higher level of obesity than almost any nation in the world. We need to go to gyms. We need to work out. We need to not accept our hideous, disgusting, fat bodies.
Sounds like you have a problem with yourself.
I have many problems.
I noticed that.
For
the record, I'm not on the shame camp of things. I do understand that obesity is honestly bad for your health, and so it is important to eat a good diet and exercise, and I'm glad you found motivation. I am the side who would motivate people through encouragement rather than shame. Anyway.
If you work out, then you won't be a fat ass!
Oh, God.
I'm encouraging people.
That is...
I'm encouraging them to work out, or I will
I'll just say
them.
that's not my style. Obviously, that's the style you use for yourself. Not that I work out, but that's not what I use for myself in other areas that I try to improve. But so now that we've jumped that little segue, digression.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Back to the story.
Yeah, so, okay, after the greatest clip show in the history of ever, we go to Beyond the Wilds, which, oh, holy crap, we actually get to see Zuko's daughter, the Fire Lord.
Oh, yeah.
She has, one line, and it's, okay, I'm not going to say that she blew me away, but she presented herself in a very reasonable fashion.
Yeah, and that gets back to that legality thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll defend ourselves against a possible invasion, but we won't actually attack first, and... Oh, okay, I could see reasonable people disagreeing on this. That was fine,
and what's
it's
more...
not one of those idiot plots,
She even presented it like, yeah, we're not going to go to war because, we were responsible for the 100 Years' War. We're not doing this again.
Yeah, that's true, reflecting on the individual history of each nation.
Okay, and President Raiko's like, yeah!
Well, he says it in a more dignified way.
We're gonna be killed by power.
Okay.
No, really, I don't think that he could have done that more dignified.
Okay.
He's kind of pathetic.
No, I think is a reasonable authority figure, at least in this season.
Okay, and the neck-bearded airbender from last season.
Oh, the guy in his parents' basement type of guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate when they do that, though.
But he got better, which was neat.
Sort of. But they still presented him as a loser.
Yeah, but...
Granted, he still is an airbender.
To see how he has improved, and he has a job now...
and he presumably
is something,
lives in a different city.
And lives in a different city now and has a little self-respect. It was like, okay, that's cool. Even the little minor character had some character growth, in the background.
So he's giving tours of the Spirit Wild.
Which also makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I guess people would want to see tours. Tourism is a thing. Why not?
And then the Spirit Wilds decide to go apeshit.
Because way over yonder...
in the swamp... it's kind of sad that it only has the one name, the Swamp. There's no name. Seriously, I have 3 swamps within a 10-mile radius of my house.
Yeah,
this is the only swamp on the planet.
they need. I've long since gotten used to the idea that the nations don't have proper names: Fire Nation, Earth Kingdom. But not everything should be like that. And the swamp could just be like the Kunara Swamp, or so. Now it has a name.
Okay. So the swamp apparently
is being harvested
because the spirit vines taken from Republic City do not have as much energy as the swamp does in its vines. So Kuvira is...
Well, also, that's the territory she controls. So it's more convenient geographically more than anything else.
Yeah, so she's harvesting these vines, which are super vines that will be able to power her weapon of mass destruction. And the vines are not happy about this, but Korra can't go into the spirit world because she's still PTSD'd all up in this bitch.
Yeah, which, by the way, I hope actual PTSD sufferers don't feel as flippant for using that term all the time. We mean it more broadly, perhaps, than the clinical definition. But anyway.
I thought you were going to say, we hope that they don't feel offended that I just used the phrase, all PTSD'd up in this bitch.
Well, maybe that helped trigger the thought.
Please don't kill me.
Anyway.
So she does the natural thing. Goes to Zahir.
That was so interesting, though.
No, okay, it was interesting, but
so much.
Okay, so she realizes that Zahir pretty much represents all of her oh god no nightmares.
Which, granted, her nightmares should have been more Zahir influenced if they were building up to that, because it was like he appeared, but so did other things a little bit. But okay, whatever. He was the one that gave her the metal poison. We talked about metal poison for a while.
So she confronts him in order to get rid of the fear. And that actually doesn't work. He's walking up to him. He's like, I can see you. You're chained up. You're not afraid anymore. He lurches forward. Korra stumbles back. All he had to say was boo, and it would have been perfect. and he shows yeah, she's still terrified of this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, look. He actually seems genuinely regretful, not over murdering the Earth Queen, which, considering that the rumor is that she ate Bosco, the Earth King's pet bear, I think that she didn't suffer long enough. But he does seem regretful over the fact that it led to basically 3 years of total anarchy in the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah, I thought it was so interesting that a villain would continue to exist after you defeat him, but in a different way. Because all villains, either they go down forever, or they come back exactly the same way like before, like the Joker does all the time, right?
Okay, but that's the Joker.
And that's fine for its own thing, but it's neat that this is new. Oh, he's still alive, but he's in chains. But he still flies. It reminds you he had that revelation. He learned how to fly, but he's in chains. But he can also still access the spirit world, so he knows a little bit about what's going on. And he's valuable to Korra now because suddenly their interests align, and he'll help her into the spirit world to help her get over her problems because his original philosophy about freedom is now being threatened by this anarchy that he didn't mean to create, or the wrong kind of anarchy anyway, because it led to Kuvira.
By the anarchy, and that led to a dictator.
Right, that's what he hates really, is Kuvira, not the anarchy.
So he teaches her how to enter the spirit world, and Rava comes back for a scene.
Yeah, hi, Rava. Shrug.
Hi, Rava.
I mean, I guess
Bye,
I guess it was made sense that she came back. It is a little weird though that you don't know the rules of when Rava can talk and when she can't.
Yeah.
With
I mean,
the-
wouldn't that be massive, sort of unbelievably massively useful back during when Aang was trying to stop the 100-Year War that would have ended with the genocide of multiple nations?
Yeah, it doesn't quite all fit together when you think about it. But okay, whatever. I'll accept that Rava's usually sleeping for some reason.
Yeah. So then she frees the people's spirits, which are in the spirit world, and then they are able to remove themselves from the vines.
Well, she used a I forget if she did the same motion or not, but I was reminded of Unalaq's spirit taming power.
Yeah, that was.
And it was like, oh, that's still a thing. What do you know? Okay.
That's still a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then next episode.
So it is at this point, finally, at episode 9, that Korra's pretty much healed. More
Yeah.
than halfway through the season, which is nice.
Well, it's 9 out of 13. So like 3/4 of the way through.
Right.
Then we go into Operation Beifong, where Bolin is trying to win back the love of his life. Opal, who is Sue's daughter, and who thinks that he's a gigantic sack of shit for working as long as he did with Kuvira, even though he was just a patsy. And
Yeah, but you could blame him for being kind of stupid and not noticing over the course of 3 years.
I've been blaming him for being stupid since season 1.
All right, good. You're making sure we're on the same page there.
Okay. And so they have to go to the place and do the thing.
They got to go rescue
Literally,
her.
because they have to rescue her mom, as well as Zhu Li, who it's revealed was never on Kuvira's side, and has been sabotaging the giant spirit energy cannon project the whole time. And I love what the spirit energy cannon looks like, because it highly resembles the Nazis' Dora cannon, which fired 11 feet long shells.
Wow, I'd never heard of that before.
Oh, I have to show you this once we're over. This is over, because it is just so stupidly. You say something about the Nazis. When it came to weapons of war, they were stupidly awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the Nazis' attempts at destroying England, firing rockets across the English Channel and bombing them with missiles. That is awesome.
That's
Stupid, yes. Inefficient, yes. But it takes a special kind of insanity to do that.
Have you watched The Daily Show recently? They were talking about Nazi cows.
No.
This was an actual thing.
I'm still watching recorded episodes. I'm back in like December.
Should I spoil it for you?
No.
Okay. Well,
But-
yeah, I was just thing.
Anyway, so moving along, yeah, it resembles the Dora cannon, and it's awesome.
Giant freaking laser beam, basically. And then they got people. We sneak in basically, and Toph notices through her bending.
Toph
sense.
shows up, by the way.
Toph shows up, by the way. Sorry.
Probably should
Notices through her bending sense that there's a large empty cavern beneath them, which turns out to be another type of earthbender prison that people have come up with, which is a wooden box suspended by long metal chains in the middle of nowhere underground. Which is I love how the powers and abilities of Korra of the Avatar universe lend themselves to these weird, cool set pieces. You know, and these self-consistent rules make for interesting situations. So now we have to like swing from one side to the other and hope that the guards on the other side of the cavern don't notice us. And Batar Senior is freaked out about making this giant swing. They have to like just, you know, Shanghai him and throw him over despite his protests.
Okay, so, and eventually they do manage to rescue Zhu Li, who's been outed as like a traitor who's been sabotaging the project this whole time.
And they're going to use Julie as a target to shoot the cannon at.
Yeah, that was kind of a dick move.
Yeah, dictators.
Dictator move.
I'm
A
known for
dictator
that.
Move.
Oh, I never thought that was a thing. That is a thing.
I guess we should do the thing. We're gonna run that pun into the ground. Then we're gonna start earthbending a cavern for it. Okay, so they rescue it.
So we fight, basically.
Then at the end, Toph says one of the stupidest lines in this show. Look, I'm old. Old people shouldn't get involved in this, which is just so blatantly a throw on the part of the creators. So they say, no, we can't have Toph in the series finale because
Because we had needed room for everybody else. Yeah. Well,
I mean, she says, "I'm old. She's 70." Let's see. When the Order of the White Lotus took out, what was the name of that? Oh yeah, conquered all of Ba Sing Se on their own. One of the leaders of that attack was Bumi, who was 113 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Toph, stop being such a whiny little bitch. Drink your Ovaltine and your prune juice and get back to Republic City.
You know what they should have done is invented some other bit, something else for her to fight away from the main action.
Have her be hurt.
Or have her get hurt. That'd be very simple.
Have her get hurt seriously so that she has to go be sent to Katara. That explains why both of them don't get involved.
Yeah. That would have been good. They should have done that. Yeah. And they would have put some more drama at the end of it, because she goes in to save them, and of course it would be Kuvira who ends up like throwing one of those little metal bands she uses. Have that just stab Toph, right? Ooh. And then she grabs it back out of herself and throws it back at Kuvira as they're leaving.
Oh, no. And then, you see that she's not bleeding at all. And she's like, well, you better hurry. I'm bending all the iron in my blood.
Oh, yes!
I'm bending the iron in my blood to form a clot faster.
Oh, that was
because
so good.
That is the insane shit that Toph would do. And she'd just be treating this like it's nothing. And everyone's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And John's just like, it ain't no thing.
Yeah, right. And then it would be like,
thing.
She's working so hard on that iron bending that she can't really bend hardly anything else. And that's why she can't fight anymore, apart from being stabbed also.
Yeah, so she has to go and get healed by waterbenders and shit.
Right, and some of the, some escaped prisoners of some sort could be like, oh, we will go take you to the healers or eventually the Katara or whatever. And she walks off with them.
Have it be those same escaped prisoners that Varric and Bolin had, and have them have the same boat. They formed a fishing company.
They just happened to be going up the coast at that time, yeah, or something. But yeah, okay.
Plot delivery service.
That was silly. It was a little silly though at the end of the original series too. Although in that case, freaking Iroh still gets to be involved. But he made this comment about, oh, I can't fight the Fire Lord. That would be brother against brother. Though apparently brother against sister is fine because, back at the Fire Nation, we had the whole separate fight going on.
Yeah.
Which is, okay. And at the same time, who the frick cares if it's brother against brother? Go kill the Fire Lord!
We want the people glassing the continent to stop!
But you could just sense the writer's thoughts of like, oh shit, we need to make it a one-on-one Aang versus Ozai, so we need everyone else to have something else to do all of a sudden. Which is why also we had to fight Zuko's sister at the same time as we're dealing with the Glass Fleet, which we didn't really have to. We could have done those battles one at a time.
Yeah, just wait until she isn't super powered and has enough power to vaporize a mountain.
Right,
Let's wait 5 minutes.
But if they'd done it realistically, it wouldn't have been as fun. Right, so
True.
Sometimes you have to break the pattern. But yes, they could have written Toph out of it in a much cooler way. I love your idea about bending the iron in the blood. That is an excellent thing for her to do.
Oh, heck, have Kuvira able to do that too. And then, this is for a darker thing. She finds someone who's been smuggling refugees out. She just bends the blood out of his body.
Oh, that would be confusing because bloodbenders are supposed to be waterbenders, but yeah, you could do it with
bending the iron out
bending the I kind of want to leave it just to Toph because she's the original earthbender and the best.
Yeah, she's just so awesome.
I want her to have that one special power that even Kuvira never had. But anyway, the point is they wrote Toph out of the story, so oh well, it was fun when we had her.
Okay, the next up is Kuvira's Gambit.
No.
Okay, something else that happened in that episode. Korra decides to try to get the spirits to fight against Kuvira because Kuvira is abusing the power of the spirit vines to operate her super cannon. The spirits say to piss off.
Yeah,
which explains more about why I think that leaving the spirit portal open is a bad idea. These things are jackasses.
But it was interesting though because you thought she would convince them to work on our side, and then when they said no, you thought they would be the cavalry and rush in at the worst possible, or the moment of greatest need in the climax, and they didn't. They actually didn't, and you're like, oh,
you fucking pricks.
Well, yeah, that for one thing, but also that's it's just the story was different than what you thought, and that the spirits while they were wrong, kind of had a reason for it, where that one guy said, "Oh, you're just trying to use spirits in a human war." It was like a Prime Directive thing. Like, we don't get involved in human affairs, and you don't get involved in, stay out of our affairs. And it was like,
but
oh,
we're supposed
okay.
to be our friends. Like, heck, Boom June was adopted by Boomy.
Yeah, but he's an exception, isn't he? I mean, not a lot. It's not like the whole city has been adopting spirits the last 3 years.
Yeah, but you think Boom June could have gone like, hey, Kuvira's on her way. She'll be here in this amount of time. Bye! Fucking a little something warning.
I don't know what was up with that.
Otherwise, literally all the spirits just started vanishing because without any warning. It's like when rats fleeing a sinking ship. I mean, rats fleeing a ship, or when you see animals acting weird when there's an earthquake about to happen.
You know what it should have been? Her
Ko.
Oh no. I mean, Ko just shows up and scares the living daylights out of the spirits.
You see Ko fleeing the city. He's like, wait, how long has Ko been living here? Ko's pizza delivery. 30 minutes or less, or your face.
Wait, so someone's like reading that. Well, you're telling me that if he's late, then I lose my face? Yes.
No. You both lose your face.
Nah, it should have been.
But you get 50% off.
Since the laser is powered by spirit by spirit vines, have it just projects like an energy field that even at very large distances, even when it's turned off, it scares off spirits.
Okay.
Right?
That's better.
It's a break in the force from their perspective, and they just can't handle it and they all leave. That would make sense. That should have been the thing. I guess the real point of it was to write the spirits out of the climax too, because they're like, we have so many things we need to do in this climax. We need to start getting rid of characters quick.
Okay, so and then we see what looks like it's going to be this awesome fight where soldiers of the United Republic are meeting on the field, and they got the mecha tanks from back in season 1, and you see Kuvira's forces coming, and they have their own tanks, and they have these power armor suits, and you think this is going to be like the coolest fight ever. And then what I personally think is the big downfall of the finale comes. Somehow Kuvira has an Evangelion.
That was so cool. How was that the downfall?
Okay, it was cool, but at the same time, there are so many ways I could see to break that thing.
They tried. It was hard. They eventually did break it.
Okay, here's how. Step 1, get a bunch of earthbenders. Go to where her giant mecha is heading. Step 2, have them create a giant 20-foot deep pit around the leg. So it goes, oh! Step 3, clamp it around that leg.
Yeah.
It's immobile.
Right, well, A, she'll be shooting you in the meantime, and B, she's an earthbender herself.
Oh, right.
If time enough, she'll put it back.
Okay, then the other thing that really bugged me about this mecha is, sure, it was awesome, but she used the damn cannon for everything. And there's
Wouldn't you use it for everything?
Okay, yes, but I'm a megalomaniacal idiot.
She's a dictator and a dick. There you go. Yeah. Back to that clip.
Okay, but like she only has a limited supply of these cannon shells.
Yeah, though she's never shown to be nearing the end of that supply, so I'm guessing it was pretty big.
Yeah, but like oh no, an insect! Some dirt! A single airbender!
I thought that was fun though. Just it showed just how much power she had, that she had like power to burn during this. If she had done that and then run out, then it would look stupid in retrospect. But since she didn't run out of ammo, it was like, yeah, bitches, I'm killing everybody. Like.
Also, the power level of this energy beam just seemed to fluctuate in between shots.
I suppose it did, yeah.
So like one scene, it like blows an entire building into atoms, and then another one, it misses like Korra by inches, and she's fine.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Plot armor. Yeah,
okay, but I think the real good part about this is Varric.
Varric was always fun.
Yeah.
Except when he was a villain in season 2, and we were like, don't make him a villain, and you know what? They listened, and they made him a good guy again, and thank you.
Okay, so Varric is actually had a lot of time to think about Zhu Li, and she yells at him like, stop treating me like an assisted. So when he's trying to he builds an electromagnetic pulse generator earlier in the series. And here's where the TV Tropes quote comes in. Legend of Korra is a unique source of fiction where they have giant robots and directed energy weapons, but no guns.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so
He built an electromagnetic pulse generator that shot. You know, that's just so awesome right there. I have to say it again. He built an electromagnetic pulse generator
Out of like a radio tower, yeah.
He
Turn
starts
off all the robots.
He starts trying to talk to Zhu Li, and again, it's just pure awesome from his point of view. Look, I had an ostrich horse, and I took it for granted because it was so useful to me. And I never really realized how important it was to me after I got kidnapped by those people from the circus. And then it gets cut off. And I want to... No, Varric, no! I don't care the rest of what you have to say is. Go back. I want to hear about you being kidnapped by the circus.
Maybe that'll be one of the comic series. If they
I have to know what this is.
It's fun. And it's great because it's also... He's going through character development, but it's still in the Varric style. Sometimes poor writing leads to characters developing in the sense that they just turn into another character for no reason, right? Mm-hmm. It's like a new person is now in this body, but
a new challenger approaches.
But when he is trying to say to Zhu Li, "Hey, I'm so sorry that I always neglected you. I didn't realize how important you were." He doesn't phrase it like I just did. He has to talk about his freaking ostrich horse, and mentions the circus while he's at it, and it fits so well. And they keep doing these little teases where he finds it the first time he meets Zhu Li again, he reaches his hand out to her as if he's about to brush her hair, and then
claps her shoulder
and okay, let's get back to work. She's like, no, freaking stop ordering me around. And he's genuinely shocked, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Okay, and another thing that's happened is earlier this season, Asami was talking to her dad, who was in prison, and now with white hair looks exactly like George Lucas. I swear to God.
I didn't even think of that. He
looks exactly like George Lucas.
He's a more Asian George Lucas, but he's a George. Yeah.
Well, we can thank him for one thing though. He didn't make Jar Jar.
Yes. Yes.
Sure, he might have been a racist who tried to overthrow the government of an entire nation in order to set up an anti-bending thing that would allow people's souls to get forcibly modified so that they fit into a certain society's ideal of perfection. But on the other hand, he didn't make Jar Jar, so I think he comes out ahead in that way. But, okay, Vera creates this awesome mecha that are like hummingbirds, but with plasma cutters so that they can cut through the platinum armor of the mech.
Yeah, that's cool. And then most of them get destroyed, but then we have some left. And then,
yeah, we have some prototypes left that they have to build. So they get Mr. Sato out of jail so he can help build these things and fly them against the Colossus, which is
again continuity. Again with the villain who still exists but in a different capacity. And from 3 seasons ago in this case.
Yeah.
Hiroshi still exists. Oh, right, I forgot.
Yeah, so anyways, but before they get so the teams are everyone else goes up in a mad rush against the Colossus, trying to distract it from, swatting the mosquitoes or whatever. Hummingbird things like mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Okay, team 1 is Varric and Zhu Li. And before they get into the cockpit, Varric says, Zhu Li, wait.
There's something. He's like, there's a component I need to attach before we go on this mission.
And she's like, what component? This ring to your finger. Zhu Li, will you do the thing with me? She jumps on him and he says, yes, I love you, Varric. I love you too. Now, let's fly these barely functioning rust buckets against a giant mechanical smashing thing of death. And she leads it to him and she croons, it's just how I
always imagined our honeymoon would be.
Yeah. And you can tell, just from this, knowing Varric and knowing Zhu Li, that's not a lie. She really thought, oh God, we're on our honeymoon, we're going to be murdered by giant robots.
Or we will murder other robots, but it fit. It's, I never thought of them as a romantic pair these first 3 seasons. But then somehow
she's a set piece.
Partially because she's a set piece. But then it worked, and perhaps that one line about the honeymoon made it fit more than anything else a little bit. It
was just so much fun.
It just showed her perspective on life aligns with his.
I'm with my honey, and we're gonna fucking die. But damn it, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. The awesomeness is the critical thing there.
Okay, and the other is Asami and Hiroshi Sato. And so they go into battle, and this goes exactly as well as you would expect. The Colossus is pretty much immune to all bending.
Yeah, they try to make like lava under its feet. They throw paint at its windows.
They try freezing it in ice.
And Kuvira has a thing for cleaning the windows remotely. Like, she has thought of this in advance. What do you know?
Which, that does make sense.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
given the nature of rebellions in this world, but whatever. Eventually, they... Varric and Julie get theirs destroyed, but they have ejector seats, which reveals that there are two buttons.
Should we back up a second to Batar Jr. getting captured before we go into the rest of the
You
climax?
do that. I need to get more water.
Okay, cool. So initially Kuvira shows up at the city and says basically surrender. I'll send someone along to discuss your terms. And it's Batar Jr., her fiance, which is interesting that they actually had a romance between the two of them. Like, fleshing out our villains. That was neat. Plan to get married and all this. And they send Batar over. We kidnap Batar, and then we, hold him for interrogation someplace. And Korra threatens him, like, tell us how to defeat the monster or we'll hurt you. And then Batar is like, no, you're not going to hurt me, because he's genre savvy enough to know that the heroes won't do that. And she says, you know what, fine, I won't hurt
season
you.
Season 2, Korra, she might have hurt him.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember that putting the judge in Nappa's mouth, practically.
Appa?
Not Naga.
Naga.
Naga's mouth. But anyway, the judge in that case didn't hold his ground. She, like Batar Jr. did. Barack Jr. Oh, that's the alternate version of this story.
Wait, you're telling me that Barack Jr. is the one who helped set up death camps in the Earth Kingdom?
No.
Thanks, Obama.
Batar Jr. But she says to him, okay, fine, we'll keep you away from your loved one forever. Which is a threat she would follow through on, and makes him break. So he gets on the radio with Kuvira and says, they've got me captured. Kuvira tracks his position by like triangulation or whatever, and decides to blow him up along with everyone else.
Just her reaction shows that she actually does consider this a major sacrifice, and she does regret this deeply.
And she's also willing to do it, which is a perfect reason for Batar to actually switch sides. Because I thought they were going to do something dumb. Here I am, paranoid about bad writing. I thought it was going to be like, oh, Batar, I'm your mother, please don't be evil. And he'd be like, okay, I won't be evil. And that would be it. But no, his loved one betrays him, tries to kill him, and that starts him thinking on different lines. So that was nice, and he gives him some information about the robot, and so we go back to fighting the Colossus. And the ejector seats and so forth.
Okay, we see when Varric and Julie have to bail out of their mech that there are two buttons to operate the ejector seats.
And they can both be operated by a single person.
Yeah.
Presumably if one of them got injured, the other one could eject them both.
Yeah. So they start cutting... The Asami and Hiroshi start cutting through the armor. Asami says, oh no, we have to move because the hand is coming into squishy position. Hiroshi ejects Asami so that she gets to live, and he succeeds in cutting through the armor.
Yeah.
And then gets squished.
And sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
Which is like, wow, that is, of course, the classic trope of redemption equals death, but still, it's a thing, and a sad thing, and a heroic thing, and all this stuff.
So a bunch of people go inside the mech and start breaking shit inside of it.
That was cool. And there are multiple, even when you're inside the mech, there's like multiple things to do. It was Sue and Lynn are screwing up the cannon, which when the cannon no longer functions, Kuvira has no compunctions about ripping off her own arm, essentially, or ripping off that part of it, because she's strategic that way, and will do whatever she needs to do. Mako and Bolin go to like the power core or whatever.
And Bolin uses a lava buzzsaw to get in. It's awesome.
And there's going to be a heroic sacrifice there, or a possible heroic sacrifice with Mako zapping the whole thing with lightning and then getting away. And they have a little talk before that. That was neat to see them as brothers again and not as, say, rivals with Korra.
Yeah.
Or romantic rivals, I meant, back in the season 1.
And Korra goes into the epic season finale showdown with Kuvira.
They fight, and a huge explosion thing.
Okay, then like the mech falls, the Colossus falls over. Kuvira finds the gun in one of the spirit wilds and goes.
Yeah, it's like it was neat that continued to exist.
Yeah.
You thought it was we disabled it, and they're in the swamp or not the swamp,
Wilds.
the wilds, and it's holy shit. The gun just happens to be like landed on some vines after she threw it. And it's pointed down at Korra, and she's turning it on now.
Okay, and then like she dodges it, but then like so they're both on the ground now. And Kuvira is like, no, I don't want to die. And Korra jumps in front of her and starts doing bendy shit at it. There's an explosion that makes it look like someone dropped a nuclear bomb on the frickin'...
It's a good thing we have that We haven't even talked about that evacuation.
Oh.
Where Prince Wu got to shine a little bit. Because they're at that meeting, and he's like, you know what? If there's going to be a battle here, we should evacuate people. And it was like, oh, hey, you're right. And so they started evacuating people.
Hey, wait, you're right.
and then Mako is on the radio and was giving them very bureaucratic style instructions. And Wu actually makes sort of a speech that gets people motivated. And then later he's singing to badger moles and making them do what he wants, which I don't recall that he had that power earlier in the season, but I was like, whatever, it's fun.
I thought that talking about all the badger moles was kind of hinting at that, but...
Yeah, I guess. The singing is... I did not quite grasp that was a possibility, but okay.
And then, Kuvira's power-armored soldiers find him and the refugees, and they're like, okay, first off, stop singing, you were awful. And second off, you're coming with us. And he sings to the badger moles. They jump out of the walls, and they start beating the shit out of these power-armored soldiers.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Badger moles are fun.
Badger moles are awesome.
So back to the climax.
They're like honey badgers mixed with moles.
They are, and much bigger, and they're earthbenders and all this.
Yeah, but they're like honey badgers, so they don't care how big they are. They're going to fuck you up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So big old explosion, and Korra and Kuvira wind up in the spirit world.
Because there's now a stable spirit world portal in the middle of Republic City, as well as absolutely nothing else, because it's a gigantic fucking crater.
Good thing we evacuated everybody. But I thought maybe Korra would die, since I knew at this point it was the series finale, which would have been interesting. But it was even better the way they did it. They both wind up in the spirit world. Kuvira finally knows she's defeated. They talk for a bit, and Korra actually sympathizes with Kuvira. She said she notices that Kuvira basically had a paranoia of being powerless ever, and that. Once again, this relates to Korra's personal journey. And she says, look, I know Kuvira was like an orphan, I think. And she says, I've never been an orphan, but I know what it feels like to be powerless. Which was neat. And then I'm also glad they didn't push that farther to Kuvira's on our side all of a sudden. Like, Lin takes her away 5 minutes later. You're going to pay for everything you've done, she says.
Which Kuvira also had already said, I'll do whatever it takes to make up for my crimes.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of weird, that they're willing to not forgive Kuvira, and yet Zuko they let in with much less difficulty.
Well...
Zuko led armies all over the world, and it destroyed, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth... Okay, yeah, it's still not the same scale.
Not quite the same thing, yeah. But that was it. And then Kuvira telling her troops to stand down. I skipped over that part because there were a few stragglers left. And he's like, no, frick it, guys, we lost. And I'm sorry. Maybe a little quick on her semi-conversion, but I'll take it. It was interesting.
Her semi-conversion? She's Optimus Prime! Ah! She converts into a semi!
Nah.
All right, Kuvira's shoulders transform and roll out! Okay, but seriously though. Then we have the final scenes of the show, which is Varric's wedding.
Varric's wedding with Julie.
Okay.
Oh, so nice.
Bolin officiates the wedding, which is amazing. He says, do you promise to love, Varric, he says, do you promise to love, honor, whatever? And do you, Julie, do you promise to love, honor, and scratch the calluses onto his foot? I'm not reading this. I am not reading this. and then, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may now do the thing. And then they kiss, and it's amazing.
Line. That was the best line of season 2. Really, the only one I can remember or care about. And then they really made it a thing in season 4. They made the thing into a thing.
They did the thing!
They did the thing in season 4.
Okay, the band that's playing, it's made up of a bunch of minor characters from earlier seasons.
Yeah, well, what was that jerk from that other pro bending team?
Tano. It had the two cops.
Oh.
And Tarlok's assistant.
Oh, I was looking at that one guy. I didn't even look at the rest of them.
Okay. The creators of Korra have gone on record in saying that the ending was not fan pandering. They absolutely did not pander to the fans when they made the decision of Korra's final decision of who to be with. They did admit that putting Tano in the band was absolutely fan pandering.
Well, and also what happens in the midst of this was I had this idea myself previously of, wouldn't it be neat if by the end, Prince Wu becomes the king and then decrees that they'll pursue democracy instead. But I did not think they would actually do that. And he just mentions it casually at this party. He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to step down and direct everyone to be democratic states in the Earth Kingdom, just like they have here in Republic City. And you're like, wow, they really matured, didn't he?
Well, not entirely. He says, I know what people are saying. Woo, you're being reckless. Woo, you're just doing this so you can so you don't have to put your singing career on hold. Wait, what? And then, something that nearly stopped my heart. Mako appears before Korra at a wedding, and he starts talking in a serious voice. I was like, no! You had this awesome episode about character insight, about how you screwed up your relationships. Don't do this, show! Don't do this! Oh, he's just saying that he'll always be her friend, and by
he didn't do that.
Wow!
Yeah, he did.
Well done, Mako. Well done, show. And so Korra is eventually staring out over the nuked to fucking hell city with the giant pillar of light.
Just part of it is gone. It's not like the whole city.
The most of it is gone.
It's like 100 yards wide. It isn't
plus all the damage from Kuvira going beam spam happy.
She's looking into the distance at the spirit portal, and she's reflecting on like just how much she's been through, and it's a good way a good thing to have at the end of a series. The sense of reflection. And Tenzin talks to her, how proud he is.
And Asami comes up and says, hey, Tenzin, Varric wants to know if he can borrow one of the glider suits see if he can jump off the top of the tower. Tenzin basically goes, oh, fuck no!
Runs away. Good old responsible Tenzin. I think Asami may have lied there, but it could be the truth.
There was an awesome comic I saw on DeviantArt after the finale came out. Varric saw, Asami looking kind of depressed, Korra looking kind of depressed, looking between the two. And he saw Tenzin talking to Korra. Ding! Idea. Hey, Asami, can you ask Tenzin where I can find... I want to jump off a building. And then that meant the two were together, and he's basically ignoring Tenzin.
I can see that. I almost want Julie to be the start of that chain. Julie talked to Varric, talked to Tenzin, just I don't know. But then so Korra and Asami are together now, just looking out into the distance, and it was interesting. I thought to myself, oh, this is how it's going to end with the two women, and somehow it seemed to fit, and I couldn't say why exactly.
Yeah, I know.
It just seemed like they would belong. And I'll tell you, I was not thinking in terms of romance at all. I was thinking they just belong together in a more abstract sense, that they somehow understand each other in a way. And Asami says, what I'd really like to do is just take a vacation from everything. And how about we go see the spirit world? And Korra says, fine. And that's a great way to end it. Sort of setting off onto a new adventure, not with a new villain, but a new chapter in life. And they hold hands, both hands, as they're standing in the portal. And I thought, I bet they didn't mean that, but it's almost as if they're a romantic pair now. And then I look online with the guy's blog, all the head writers, yeah, no, they're both bisexual. They're a romantic pair now. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is so cool. I totally didn't think that way. But it's a credit to their writing. That even though I was not thinking of them being romantic in the slightest, I still felt there was some vibe between them that made sense that they would want to spend that time alone together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somehow their personalities just clicked in a way that I hadn't even noticed the whole season long, even though apparently everyone else in the world had been cheering for Korra Sami, that I had, like, you know, I'm not on fan sites. I'm not, like, listening to their lingo and whatever. I just watch the shows by myself and talk to you about it. But yeah, that fit. And what a great, step forward for I want to say gay rights, but technically it's bisexual rights, or LBGTQ rights.
LGBTLT. Lesbian, bisexual, transgender, gay, lettuce, tomato.
Yes, exactly.
We want lettuce and tomato rights!
You know, and they didn't say I love you or kiss, but
it was somehow better for having done that.
I was going to say, yeah, because the Nickelodeon might have been queasy about that. You know, we don't want to scare off all the homophobes. But B, that actually fits. That they haven't advanced so far in the relationship just to say outright I love you, but they want to spend time together, and you just leave it on that soft ending, you know. And I just read all the posts from the creators about that, and how some people have, like, watched this and cried tears of joy that you know, because some of them are gay or bisexual, their friends are, or whatever, and yeah, it's such a sweet ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now I want to see a comic called The Vacation, and now they're allowed to kiss. For some reason in comics it's allowed. I'm just imagining, you know, or
yeah.
And then maybe we'll follow up with the other characters too. But
remember the guy who did the comic that said it's finally as good as Avatar?
Yeah.
Same guy posted another comic. It was like, it showed Varric and Julie like looking so happy on their wedding day. Wow, this is it, the final moment of the series, and it's my wedding, and everything is going perfectly. Sure, nothing is going to take this moment away from me. Certainly not in the last 3 minutes of the show. Showed a picture that looked beautiful of Korra and Asami gazing into each other's eyes before the spirit portal. Then last panel, Varric is still holding on to Julie. Julie's going, aw. Varric is screaming, "You motherfucker!" The end.
You stole the attention from us.
You stole Varric's thunder.
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of shows that do a last minute hookup, and okay, it's the end. I guess these two characters are now a pair, and usually it sucks when it's just thrown in at the end.
Avatar: The Last Airbender did of the last minute hookup, but
that was all right.
They had build up
to it, and this one had like retrospective build up, like I mentioned earlier with she wrote letters only to Asami, you know, and their previous, I think in season 3 or something, where the two of them were in the car and just talking about romantic difficulties now, and they're being so mature about it. And I was like, oh, okay, they have some connection there. You know, they could just, you know, be honest with each other and be comfortable in each other's presence and stuff. I did not see it personally. I did not realize they were building up. But looking back, like, oh yeah, they did, and it all just kind of fits. And
they didn't have to like go over the top in order to make this shit happen.
They didn't.
They didn't have
and neither one of them is a damsel in distress. That happens in so many series where someone is a superhero of some kind, right? You have your Clark Kent and your Lois Lane. I said it right. And no, they've both been awesome the whole time, and they've both been fleshed out in their own way. And Asami lost her dad, and Korra talked to her about that, even though it was just briefly. Like, everyone's rounded, and now they're together, and it's just so interesting.
It just fit really well together.
Yeah, and you remember how bad the shipping used to be?
Yes.
As this
team, I in the great shipping wars of the Avatar fandom.
This team really matured.
But there's still one plot element that's still not resolved.
Oh, what's that?
We have not brought to justice Alphonse Firebender, the waterbending serial killer who killed Bolin, Mako, and Asami's parents.
That's right. He should show up in the comics or something.
No. They were about to enter the spirit portal. Suddenly, both Asami and Korra drop dead. A Firebender strikes again!
Oh, Arnold Firebender. Yes, Alphonse.
Arnold. It was Arnold Firebender.
Yeah.
Arnold Firebender.
Arnold Firebender.
The waterbending serial killer strikes again!
Oh god, please don't have them drop dead at the spirit portal. That would be the most terrible thing ever. But yeah, stuff. And this show, it worked with its errors. they talked about how Mako had made mistakes, and they gave him crap for it.
These many
mistakes. It was weird at the time when Korra reunited the spirit and real worlds, and it kind of still is weird, but they made it work. Like, you could accept this is a part of the world now, the spirit wilds, it's a thing, fine, I'll work with it. They, made shit make sense. I mean, it used to be every couple episodes we record, like, okay, let's talk about everything that didn't make sense the last 2 episodes. And here we just did a whole season, and, like, yeah, little things pop out, but, like, in general, really smooth plotting. It worked. It added up.
Yeah.
And now it's over.
Shit, now what are we going to talk about?
Tune
Tune in next time when we talk about Outlaw Star.
Yeah, well, might as well. It's a good show.
Yeah, fucking entertaining show.
Yeah.
I advise watching it.
Yeah.
It's just really... It starts off awful, but then it gets better.
Yeah, I know.
It's like getting a shot of morphine. It hurts at first, but then it feels good.
It feels good. I know. I kind of wish I could tell people, just start with season 3, but they do call back to events of the first 2 seasons. So
I say start with season 3.
Yeah, maybe just
start with season 2 with the next generation of Star Trek.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. And of course, all the combat stuff was awesome as it always is.
Oh, come on. We even have to mention
I
that.
mentioned
Combat
that.
is always awesome in the Avatar universe.
Yeah, they never really dropped the ball on that.
And there's so many other plot points we should mention, but we just, we'd be here for frickin' ever.
We've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes already, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so tune in next time when we...
hopefully find a good show to watch somewhere. I don't know.
Actually, no, our next episode is going to be like how we would fix it. For
or
Korra
further
and
how
Zoom.
we would fix. I have to think because I used up a lot of ideas in our previous Korra how to fix it thing, but
Okay.
maybe I'll come up with some more stuff, or how we would do a 3rd Avatar series. We've brainstormed that once before, not on
Resurrected Vatu.
Resurrected Vatu.
Resurrected Vatu, Unalak, Amon, and Zahir phone conferences on world events.
All they
It's
ever
like
do.
Fox News. It's like Fox News, like a panel. It's like 4-person panel.
That would be fun to do that as actually sort of a side show, like that maybe only shows up on the website or something. Like after each episode, let's like have the former villains all commenting on their phones, and
Yes.
well, I think that the new villain sucks because blah blah blah. And,
have Ozai. You see, this evil serial killer is only targeting benders. And you see Unalak. You see Amon. Yes, I approve greatly of this. And you see Vatu. Well, I disapprove. He's not targeting enough people. He should be murdering everyone.
And what about the Ferris wheels?
you see Albert Firebender.
I called him Arnold.
Arnold Firebender going, yes, yes.
Yeah.
There needs to be a comic about Arnold Firebender, the water-bending serial killer.
Maybe we'll just make it. I can't draw, but maybe I'll find someone who can.
Oh my god.
Or we'll do press reports in the voice of that guy who does the press reports.
Oh my
Arnold
god.
Firebender is
Something
on the
I forgot.
Oh, what?
The clip show. They had a clip show at the beginning of the episode of the pro bending guy showing all his appearances in the series.
Oh, right. Because he's the guy that announces the beginning of each episode.
Oh my god. Yes. I was so happy for that because he's just...
He's just a little mascot, on the side of things or whatever. Yeah. Well, I guess if I have to summarize the whole bit, first it sucked, but then they did the thing.
They did the thing.
And that's about it.
Well, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonicsuns.
And we're doing the thing.
Bye. And now, a special message. So this is a bit of an addendum we decided to record here.
We'd like to have a moment of silence here for Sonicsuns' mom, who passed away after a 2-year battle with cancer on January 1st, 2015.
Yeah, we fought long and hard, and she fought very hard, and a lot of people, nurses, whatever, have said that neither she nor the family gave up, and it's good to know that we gave it our all. Considering Mom's age especially, it was important to keep trying, and also important that we made use of the time we did. I mean, for the first chunk of her illness, Mom, you wouldn't know she was ill. I mean, she had like one procedure, and then she seemed fine for several months, even though we knew the cancer was still there. So she went on a whirlwind tour, saw like all the extended family she could think of, went to other countries even. We had quality time at home too, Christmas and things like that. And there's no way I'm going to summarize everything in a minute or two here, so I won't try. I'll say this, though, that it's important to make use of the time you have, and also that the whole process is very weird. I say that to comfort anyone else who's also going through cancer or whatever. There's ups and downs, and it doesn't necessarily work like a movie, since this is a media review show. Like, in a movie, you'll have, okay, this is the cancer section of the movie, someone's very sick, and everything is sad.
Tragic death, and people are absolutely devastated, and
And
everyone's crying.
people crying, and people, and there's always the cancer patient is in the hospital bed with that one machine that won't stop beeping.
Until it finally does, and
Until
then
it finally does,
and that's everyone's cue to be
and that's
sad.
like how it's. And of course, there are so many elements of reality strewn in there, but you don't know like the crazy details of it, which I don't know if I should even bother going into detail in my case, because every case is different. But for instance, I'd go to hospice, for an 8-hour shift watching Mom. Was the rule in our family is that there's always someone there with her. There's always an advocate 24/7, which I think we did a good job of keeping to that, and it was helpful. But you'd have a long shift at hospice helping Mom dealing with her cancer, and then go home, and then like play a video game, which is totally incongruous. That would not happen in a movie, right? Like, then he played Arkham City for a while, which I finally got, by the way. I was like, you know what? Life sucks. I'm gonna go buy an Xbox 360 just so I can play that one game, because I've been waiting for a few years now. But see, even that,
I've been murdering the shit out of zombies in Left 4 Dead to help me cope with the loss. But
and even right now, as you're listening to this, you're like, is that a bit of a smile in his voice as he described a video game that he was playing during the midst of cancer? Things are weird though. I mean, for one thing, just to even to help Mom better, I knew I had to take time off of things once in a while. And then, the grief after death is weird too. And there certainly is crying, but, that has happened, and I'm sure will happen again. But things aren't necessarily wrapped up in a bow like movies. Weird details stick out for better or for worse. Sometimes people, after the funeral, there are some laughs as people talk about fond memories and stuff. Which is really freaking weird. There's laughter in the midst of a tragedy. And then there's also crying. Well, that was the obvious part. So I'm emphasizing those bits that weren't obvious.
I think it says a lot about my personality that there are two things that stand out about the funeral mass. One is seeing you walk past me and you were crying.
Oh God, yeah.
And you know what? That's wrong in so many levels, because you're not supposed to be crying. You're not supposed to be emotional. You're like the Vulcan of our two. You're the stoic guy that it grounds me when I get super emotional and yelly and angry and shit.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Yeah.
So you're not allowed to do that anymore. It breaks the dynamic of what we have.
Yeah.
And the other is that some guy had a great man once said, how we deal with death is as important as how we deal with life. And I leaned over to my mom and was like, oh my God, he just quoted Jim Kirk. because I am a soulless bastard who pays attention to that sort of thing.
I mean, I know.
And I talked to him later. He said, I included that because I thought Jimmy looked really sad and he needed to be...
Oh, he improv that?
I think he did.
I did not know that was improv. Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah, but he did it for you.
Aw, thank you. But yeah, I found. I mean, everyone deals with grief differently. Like, some people they feel, at least for a while. And it can change from day to day or hour to hour, but they feel like I need to be busy to stay away from the grief. And maybe that's appropriate depending on who you are, your personality, I guess. For me, it's been much more. I visit Mom's old hospital room. I sort of I address the ideas of things directly. And I must say, at least for me, it really helps that we had long lead time. And I mean, because I've had tears recently, but a year ago I could talk about tears. The Wind Rises. You remember that movie?
Yes.
Yes. Which I walked into that not knowing that someone had a terminal illness in this show.
Yeah.
But it's so important to be honest with yourself about your own feelings, and not only does it help in the moment, I think that helped in the longer run. That as Mom was declining more and more, and death was more and more approaching, I had approached that idea in my mind many times, and found a way to deal with it. Like, not, I think some people might just get sort of obsessed in a bad way, get stuck on an idea, but there's another thing you can do of sort of processing an idea and making it a little more comfortable. Like, not like, oh, this is fine, but like a little more comfortable. And I don't know, I'm trying to draw some lessons out of my experience to help people, because I know other people have
just be there
bad
for
experiences.
Just be there for people who are in need of help. I mean, heck, when I found out, I sent a text to you, and it's still funny to me in a dark way. I know you're not okay, but are you okay?
That's actually a very intelligent way to phrase it. That, because of, it's you acknowledged how bad things were, but you also were saying, I'm open to, like, hearing more about it if you want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. And then nod and smile while thinking of, like,
No.
Star Wars.
No.
No. That's just me using humor to overcome the fact that I am deeply upset.
God, it's I was there for Mom, and she appreciated that, and she was at peace with dying towards the end. That helps me a lot too. If she'd been sort of panicking right at the end, that would be harder. But she said, "Look, we fought the good fight, and there's not much more we can do." And so basically, had a sort of acceptance that helped us all to accept it as well. It was still freaking sad when it happened. Like, don't think that this is like, aha, we've, like, achieved a perfect solution. But I don't know. I just tell people recently where I'm getting by day, and somehow managing, and somehow still able to record an episode of Rambling Reviewers with Legend of Korra stuff and all. Well, there's actually the small connection there.
It's our concluded Korra coverage.
It's our concluded Korra coverage, but I watched the end of Korra and also the end of the Colbert Report. If I may put this all together.
Oh no! Stop.
What, have you not seen that, or you have?
No, I have seen it.
I watched them both late, like after their actual broadcast date, but before my mom passed. And what did you know it? They both kind of related to my experience. The Colbert Report had that song "We'll Meet Again."
Oh, that was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Well, okay, I was more
stuck in my
playing
head
the game
for a
of
while there.
Find cameos.
Yeah, that too.
Still fun.
And then in Korra, okay, so we're actually recording this before we do the review, but I'm sure in the review I've mentioned that in Korra, Asami loses her dad, and that obviously bore a connection to me. I knew I was within days probably of losing my mother. And also, there's that bit where Korra is looking off into the distance, into the portal near the end, and is reflecting on all the big things that have happened in her life, and is trying to find, like, what is the next path forward, And I can identify with that feeling too, of like, wow, I've been through a lot, and where do I go from here exactly? And I don't know, everything's just kind of weird and unknown right now. Now, the metaphor does not go further than that because I did not go into a spirit portal with my new gay lover or something. I don't know of any spirit portals around. In case anyone was wondering.
Also, you don't have a gay lover.
Yeah.
That I know
yeah,
of.
no, that's...
Is there something you'd like to tell me, Sonic?
I can't say I've ever kissed a boy, no. So, nor do I have a girlfriend. I have trouble in that department.
I kissed a girl and I liked it.
A while ago, yeah. It's been a while, let me tell you.
Yeah, we're lonely.
It's okay. But anyway, I took inspiration from the shows I saw, which is why we're so interested in media. You know, it's not just a way of, like, you know, some people you can watch TV and rot your brain and sort of fill up time for no reason. And then there's a level above that, which is sort of entertaining, but you didn't learn anything. And then there's a level above that where, yeah, it was entertaining, but also there are ideas and themes here that are important about how to live your life. You know, and no one ever gives you a perfect instruction booklet, but you just pick things up along the way. And I've been doing that, I guess, all my life. And that helps. That helps in the good times, and it helps dealing with the bad times, too. So... Yeah. Big, weighty stuff. I know I'm a writer. I keep wanting to, like, put a bow on it, like, find the concluding paragraph, you know? Like, it's life, for goodness sake. I don't have, like, and this is the answer, the end, you know? But, you know, I hope you can pick up some tidbits from everything I just said and that you just said. And I hope that helps you, the listeners, few in number though you may be.
Yeah.
I hope it helps you deal with whatever life throws your way. And I really hope that your parents live to a ripe old age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people deserve, you know, a full lifespan. And so there's that. Yeah. But,
okay, well, that's enough of us acting sweet.
enough.
Now we're going to record the episode, and I get to act like a raging jackass.
I guess it's important to do these things in order, right? No, but anyone out there who's dealing with crap of any kind, illness, depression, or whatever, our hearts go out to you, and good luck, and keep on
doing
trying.
that.
Do
the thing.
Do the thing. That is what you must do. That is the ultimate instruction.
You must do the thing.
Hugs to everyone.
Although one thing that I thought Babylon 5 did really well, it had a lot of great quotes. I prefer the one, "May we meet again in the place where no shadows fall." I like it.
Well, we'll end on that. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye for now.